Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today we're going to do part number 8 of the Journey restoration. That is right, we're going to go to the garage and work on our beloved Journey, guys. And today we're going to do kind of a quick, short, little midweek video, and we're going to focus strictly on the control panel and the control panel overlay. And let me tell you, it is one of my least favorite things to do in this hobby. I mean, putting on a control panel overlay is just like stressful beyond belief. As you guys probably saw when I did this one right here, that thing sucked. Anyway, so let's go to the garage and let's get working on the Journey. And really, after we put this control panel overlay on, this game is gonna really look like a Journey, guys. I mean, we're getting so close. So anyway, let's go to the garage and let's get working on that Journey. Okay guys, here's where the Journey is. Now, in the last video, we actually painted the control panel and the coin door, and we also cleaned up the joystick, and yes, I'm using my little tripod toy. And anyway, yeah, so we painted the control panel. It's all ready for the overlay, and we're gonna do that right away in this video. And then we also painted the coin door, and it actually turned out really great. Now, if you remember, we didn't sand this completely. We left the original finish here, and I went over it with satin black paint, and I actually think it looks really good. It actually turned out freaking awesome. I did sand all of the, the heavy rust that was on here and got rid of all that stuff. But really, we maintained the original finish throughout, and it looks pretty much brand new. So really excited about that. And also, before we start the control panel overlay, I want to show you guys this. So in the mail today, this showed up, and this is the mythical dual power amp with cassette interface board for Journey, guys. That's right, this is the board that's going to enable us to play the cassette, to play the Journey audio at the end of the game. And let me tell you, this is a very mythical board to me, and Russ on Clove hooked me up, and bro, thank you so much. Now, this board is untested. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm crossing my fingers here, and I think we're gonna find out in this video. I hope to get this hooked up in the video we're doing right now. I need to order a 100 ohm pot though. I don't have it because we need to add a potentiometer on here to adjust the volume of the cassette. And I probably could just bridge a resistor on here or something, but I'm gonna order that. I'm gonna order that pot tonight and hopefully have it by the time this video is done filming, because I'm gonna be filming this video over a few days here with the long holiday weekend and all that. So, but yeah, Russ on Clove, dude, thank you so much, because this board really completes my game, and now I have all of the parts. We have the cassette player, I have the endless loop tape that's gonna play Worlds Apart, separate ways, Worlds Apart. We're gonna record it onto this tape. This is a 3-minute endless loop tape. This basically has one reel that just endlessly loops the song over and over and over. And again, I know I've talked about this before, but basically the principle of this is this thing here turns the cassette player on. The play button is always pushed in. It basically just gives this thing power. It sends the audio over here to the audio amp, and it mixes it in with the game audio, and the song comes through the speakers. So we're gonna get to that hopefully end of this video. But Russ, man, thank you, bro. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, just look at it. It's actually really clean. So I have high hopes this is gonna work. So I have the wiring kind of all. We're gonna have to make a harness and figure out the wiring, but I'm very confident we can do it, because the documentation in the Midway manual is top notch. It shows where all the wires go on each of these pins and every one of these pins. So hopefully we'll get to this by the end of the video. So anyway, okay. So what I want to do now is I want to put this overlay on the control panel. So let's get this out of the way. And this is by far my least favorite part of this hobby. It can be very stressful, as you guys saw in the Major Havoc. I don't know if you guys saw when I did the Major Havoc control panel overlay for my Tempest control panel. That was nerve-wracking. And hopefully this one goes a lot smoother. Okay, great. I don't have a knife, right? You guys gave me shit last time because I didn't have a knife and I was opening up these bags with tweezers. So, all right, we're just gonna tear it open. It's funny the stuff you guys pick up on these videos, because like 10 guys commented that I didn't have a knife and I was using tweezers to open the plastic on the Journey artwork. But anyway, all right, so we have the overlay off. And here's our freshly painted control panel. I painted this because this was a reproduction I got from Takeman on Clove. He reproduces these control panels. He had a primer on here. And it was a very nice primer, but I didn't want to use the primer because I was worried that, you know, when this lines up, you'd see silver in here where the joystick hole is. And plus, I want to protect it because the primer was a little scratchy and it was showing bare metal. And I just wanted to protect this. And so I painted it black. I used some Rust-Oleum satin black, and it looks great, actually. So we're all ready to put our overlay on. And before we start, I want to clean this up. I just want to take some alcohol. And I'm just using 70% isopropyl alcohol. I got this at like CVS or something, and I'm just going to clean up the surface, and because you want to have a nice clean surface that the adhesive can stick to, and alcohol is nice because it evaporates really fast, and it is a great little safe cleaning agent. So we're just going to come in here and just rub this thing down with some alcohol and get it all ready for our control panel overlay. And I think this game is going to look really hot after we put this on, by the way, because this control panel overlay is, look at that thing. It is freaking awesome. So, all right, so let's clean this guy up. All right, so I'm going to let this sit for a minute and just let it dry. So I'll be back in like 1 minute. Okay, I let the alcohol kind of evaporate and dry here, so we're ready now to start this. And what I always do first is I put the buttons in, and these will be kind of used as a guide, basically, for us to kind of hold this in place. And I remember these buttons go in tight on this control panel, so hopefully I can get them out. Just kind of jam the buttons in there. Man, those really go in there tight. So, just gonna get these buttons in here to kind of line up everything. Alright, that one's in pretty good. Oh, that's interesting. The holes on these are bigger than the buttons? I've never seen that before. So the buttons actually sit on the metal, not on the control panel. That is bizarre. Usually the buttons sit on the overlay. And these die cuts on the holes are actually larger than the buttons. All right, so that, I don't really like how that lines up, but I think that's gonna be it. Okay, so the buttons are kind of holding this in place, and now when we start removing the adhesive backer, it's gonna kind of sit where we need it to be. And just for good measure here, I'm gonna put some masking tape right here. And also on this side right here. Because what we're going to do, the idea here is we're going to remove the wax paper, the adhesive backer, from this side first, apply this half of it, then pop the buttons, remove the adhesive paper from this side, and then apply it that way. So this one looks like it's going to be pretty simple. Knock on wood, you never know till you get into this. Man, that Major Havoc one that we did, that was hairy. So hopefully this one isn't the same. Okay. All right, so you know what? I need to get my scissors those are in the house. Let me grab those real quick. Okay, I got my trusty scissors here. And again, so we want to kind of peel this back, and we're going to peel the paper back and then cut it away. And you want to try to peel, excuse me, beyond the bend here if you can, or before it, because otherwise it gets a little tricky. So let me show you guys here. So let's get this paper started. And this is gonna look hot, guys, when we get done here, trust me. Because this artwork is ridiculous. Oh, come on. This is the part of the video where John tries to get the wax paper off. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, so that should be enough. And you just want to kind of cut a really straight line if you can. And we're just basically want to get it started. Try to cut as straight a line as possible. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we're going to kind of just put some pressure on here and then start letting this thing, start letting it stick to the metal. Just kind of keep it tight. You don't want to get any air bubbles. Okay. All right. And we want to kind of make this bend down here. I think I might get the hair dryer this time. Okay, and then this is going to bend over like so. You know what? I am going to get the hair dryer. Let's make our life kind of easy here. I've always heard guys talking about using a hair dryer, and this is a pretty severe bend right here we need to make. Let me grab the hair dryer. Okay, I have a hair dryer here, and I'm just going to basically use this to kind of heat up the material so we can make this rather severe bend. And I've actually never done it this way. I always hear guys talking that this is what you need to do, so let's try it. Okay, so hopefully that's the most severe bend right there. So you can see we got it looking pretty good here, that bend. So now we need to do the top half. And so now it's time to remove our tape and our buttons. Maybe. If you guys remember in the previous video how hard it was to get those buttons out of there. Jesus Christ, why is these buttons so tough to get out? Alright, I learned my lesson last time because I used a hammer. However, what if we use a hammer again, but we're a little more smart about it? Come in here like so. Just hit the meat of it. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to do the second half of this. And really no different than the front. We're just gonna come here and grab our paper and peel it back. Like so. And just kind of apply pressure as we peel it. And kind of push forward so we can keep the air bubbles out of here. So we've got another bend here, not nearly as severe. I'm just going to go ahead and take all this off. Okay. Just trying to make this bend here. Okay. It looks pretty good. No air bubbles. I am going to say this because before, when we painted this control panel, I was talking about how, you know, some guys say that you should paint the control panel white. This is the first time I've ever noticed this before, but the white in here and the yellow, you can almost see the black underneath. And you know what? In hindsight, maybe I should have painted this thing white, because these whites are now an off-white. It doesn't look bad, but I can kind of sense and feel the black paint underneath here. And I'm telling you, I've done a ton of control panel overlays, and I've never felt the need to paint it any color but black until now. And maybe this material is a little thinner than most of the control panel overlays I've had before, but this white here, and even in the yellows, I can kind of sense the black underneath it, and it looks a little dirty. All right, so now we got to make this bend here, and I am going to pull out the hair dryer again, and we'll just start on one end. So that's gonna do it, guys. The control panel overlay is on, and I think we did a really good job there. What do you think? Does that look sharp or what? And you can see all of our bends, real nice. There's a bend right here along the bottom. Man, that looks sharp. So we're ready to put the joystick back on and the buttons. And on Journey, let's put these buttons back on. The red buttons are the fire buttons, so they go in the middle, okay? And again, there's little notches here, if you guys can see that. See the little notch that's kind of cut out there? And basically, our buttons also have a little notch. And we want to line up the notches and then press it down. And if you don't line up the notches, it's not going to want to go in very easily. And these buttons are already a bitch to get in. All right, that one's in. Okay, let's get the other red button in. And again, I'm just lining up the notches here. Okay, and then on Journey, the white buttons are the 1-player and 2-player start. Okay, here's our white buttons. And same deal as the red, just line up the notches and click it in. Okay. All right. What do you guys think, huh? Is it looking pretty damn sharp or what? Okay, so now we're ready to put our joystick on. And this should be pretty straightforward. And if you remember, we made our harness, so everything should be pretty obvious where it goes. This goes just like that, and then, actually I got it backwards. Here, let's think about this. It goes like, should look at it like this. Is that right? Yeah. Why isn't this lining up? These go like here, and this is my harness. Is that right? This doesn't look right. This feels backwards to me somehow. I don't really see how, but... So these... definitely go like this. Yeah, I guess this is right. Yeah, that's right. And this kind of hangs down. Yeah, I guess that's the way it was. Okay, so let's get my pal nuts. It's kind of second guessing myself there for some reason. So let's screw our pal nuts down. And these are little stamped nuts that hold joysticks on, buttons on. And these are pretty universal, especially with these leaf switch type buttons. Micro switch is typically don't have these type of pal nuts. They usually have like a plastic collar or something. And so we're putting a nice, clean, rebuilt joystick on this thing, which is great. Let me get my pliers here. I usually snug up the pal nuts just a little bit with my needle nose pliers. I typically just kind of grab the top of the nut with these and then just give it a little bit of a twist. Not too tight, just kind of snug it up. Usually hand tight is good enough on these pal nuts, but I snug them up a little bit. Okay, so now we need our washers and lock nuts that hold the joystick onto the control panel. Okay, I actually forgot to do something and forgot to put the dust washer under the joystick. I have to undo this. Duh. Hang on, I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, I have the joystick undone. I unbolted it here, and so here's the dust washer. Now this goes between the joystick and the control panel. This does not go on top of the control panel. It goes under the control panel. And what's interesting though here is that this joystick doesn't quite match the diagram here. Because if you guys look here, if you guys can see this, there's supposed to be a little lip here that comes down, and it creates like a little cavity for the dust washer to live, and this joystick doesn't have that. This joystick is flush straight across, and look at this. And so if I put this here and then put this against the control panel, there's no void for this to live, and that's kind of mysterious to me. Now this joystick came from a Burger Time, I think, and I'm not sure, maybe that was that a wood control panel? I don't think so. So we need to create a little void here for this, and I'm going to use these washers actually. I'm going to come in here with 2 washers on each side to kind of push the joystick a little bit off the metal so this thing has a nice little place to live. Okay? Is what I'm saying making sense here? So I'm going to put 2 washers on each of these posts. Okay? And this is going to basically stand the joystick off. I wonder if I can get away with 1 washer. Might be able to. Let me see. It's almost the same height. I think I need 2. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 washers on each one of these studs. Okay, so now we can put our dust washer underneath the joystick. Okay, and I want the textured side up. I want the textured side of that facing the hole. Okay, and now there's a nice little void in there for the dust washer. And now I'm going to go ahead and ratchet this down with my lock washers, my lock nuts. Kind of strange how that didn't have that void. Okay, we have the joystick bolted to our control panel. So now we need to insert the stick, and I have to kind of do this carefully because I don't want the dust washer. See how the dust washer moves freely, and that's how it should move. So I have to carefully kind of hold the dust washer in place and put my joystick through here and then through the grommet. Okay, that's nice. And then come on this side, and we have our little actuator right here. That's going to slide right on here. Okay. And then we need our little E-clip. These E-clips can be such a bear to get on. Let me kind of show you close up here. And I don't know if you guys noticed something here, but I made a mistake. I broke something that we're going to have to fix now. I'll show you in a second. Okay, there we go. See this? Look at this. Remember I told you guys in the last video how if you manhandle these tabs on the leaf switches, it can break off? And I must have bumped it here and it broke off. So I'm going to have to address this right now. I'm going to try to solder that tab back on. But anyway, our joystick's on. And what do you guys think? Let's zoom out here. That looks freaking hot. That looks great. And this joystick feels like butter. It's silky smooth. Our buttons got a little banged up here. Got some scuffs on them. Looks like I can just kind of wipe that off. But yeah, look at that. That looks awesome. That was a major success. But now I need to fix the problem I created over here. I'm going to get my soldering iron heated up here, and we're going to try to solder this tab back on that leaf switch. And this is not the first time I've done this. This is not proud of that, but I'm telling you, man, these things are flimsy, and if you look at them the wrong way when you're manhandling this stuff, it will break. So let's see if we can fix that leaf switch. Okay, guys, hopefully we'll have some luck here. I've had to do this before, and it is a little bit of a butcher job here, so let's see if we can do this and not make it look so ugly. And so here's the little tab that broke off, if you guys can see that. And what I'm going to try to do here, hopefully, is kind of melt the tab into the plastic and then solder it on. And this is going to be ugly. It really is. So, just warning you before you guys make posts. It's going to heat this up till it kind of goes in. All right, that's not too bad. It just fell over. Didn't get it hot enough. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to heat the part up till it kind of melts the plastic a little bit and just goes in. And I'm putting it flush against the old tab. Is it on? Ah, fudge. Come on, get in there. I know this will work. Get in there. I'm trying to heat up the tab so it kind of melts into the plastic and then just kind of sits in there. And then I'm going to come in with some solder and then solder it to the actual metal. Metal to metal. Just at the base. Okay. Come on, get in there. Melt! Ah, it's not working. Told you it was going to be ugly. The solder's doesn't seem to want to be sticking. Probably should get some flux. Because there's a little piece of the metal tab in here. And I'm just trying to solder the old tab back onto the one that it broke off of. I don't seem to be being very successful of getting this super hot. How's that? I think I got it. I did. Okay. Let me get my multimeter and just test this out. Make sure we got connectivity. So I'm going to put my meter on continuity beep. And if it beeps from this tab to this blade, I know yeah, it's good. Okay, it's on there. And let's wiggle it. It's on there pretty good, actually. So we can put our thing back on. And we just repaired a leaf switch. What do you think? It's doable. Wasn't as ugly as it could have been. I've done it. The last time I did one of these, I think was on my Robotron, my Multi-Williams, and it has the Wicco ones. And the tabs on those are even flimsier than these Midway ones. And I think I broke 2 of those tabs when I was messing around with the control panel. So, okay, so we're all done. This is all back together. The joystick's in. It's looking sharp. We're ready to put it on the game and test it out and make sure our buttons and controls still work. So let's come over to the game. And this is rather exciting, really. So let me drop my little plug down here. And let's just, holy crap, that looks good. I'm going to come in here and make my connection. Find the harness. Okay, so the control panel is plugged in. So let me plug the game in. And actually, let's just enjoy how it looks for a second. That looks frickin' hot. Look at that. That is handsome. You gotta admit. It's really looking like a Journey right now, right? All right, let me plug it in, and hopefully the joystick, the control panel still works. Okay, so let's try our control panel out. Nothing. Why is that? That's why. We had a little ground wire loose. Okay. So far it's working. Turn the light on. So let's see if we can move. We cannot. Can move right. What's going on here? There we go. Okay, so we're moving left and right here. Let's kind of finish this level. Fire button works. Fire button works. Okay, up, down, left, right. All right, so everything works. Cool. Awesome. So you know what? I think that, you know, actually, I'm gonna call this video I'm gonna end this video. Let's call this the end of this video because I'm gonna release this midweek. This is gonna be like a midweek Journey update, and then I think this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I'm gonna do some of the heavy lifting. And you know, it's Tuesday night. I thought it'd be kind of fun to just kind of knock this out real quick, and of course I gotta film it. And I think we're gonna resume the next video with the coin door. We're gonna start restoring that, and then really get to the cabinet. We probably should address the cassette interface board next too. Oh, there's so much to do still. My God, I really okay. Next video, I think we should start with the cassette interface board and the coin door. Then after we get all of that stuff wired up and working, then we should paint the cabinet. And by the way, I want to show you guys something that I did. Not kind of a boneheaded move, really. Maybe, I don't know. But look at this. You see this? We had those lock bar nuts that were on here, and those things were like in there. And let me show you what they were right here. So I had these kind of medieval looking pieces that were just kind of in here, and I could not get them out. And what I did is I went on the other side of the cabinet with a screwdriver and popped them out. And they did pop out, sure enough, but they also took a big chunk of the cabinet with them. Not a big deal at the end of the day because, you know, I was going to have to Bondo this anyway. It's just a little more to Bondo than I was hoping for, but we'll be okay. I bought some dowels, and we'll plug this up with some dowels and then put some Bondo and sand it. It'll be good. But we'll probably address that hopefully the next video because this weekend is a long weekend, and I'm hoping to accomplish a lot. So we're going to end this video right here. This is going to be just a control panel overlay video. We put it all back together. We rebuilt the joystick. We put it back on the control panel. And my God, that thing is looking sharp. Just look at it. It's looking legit, guys. You got to admit, it looks great. Oh, man. The artwork is so awesome. And if you guys noticed this, the artwork for the control panel overlay continues onto the bezel. You see that, the little swoops here? Pretty neat, huh? Awesome, man. The artwork on this game really is just some of the best from the era. It truly is. So, all right, that's it, guys. Why don't we go back down to the basement? It does look handsome, doesn't it? All right, let's go back down. All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 8 of the Journey restoration. Kind of a freebie midweek video. You know, I came home from work today and I just wanted to put that overlay on because that control panel was just calling my name. You know, the paint dried. I'm like, I gotta put it on. I gotta put it on. And man, that game is looking amazing. I mean, it really now looks for sure like a Journey. I mean, the artwork is so badass. And Proc, you did a great job on that control panel overlay, man. That artwork just pops and wow. So anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this little midweek video. And then this coming long weekend, I plan on spending a lot of time in the garage working on the Journey and really restoring the cabinet. And I think by Monday, Memorial Day, man, I'm going to be pretty close to done, I think. That's kind of my plan here because I got to bondo the cab and paint it up. I actually went to Ace Hardware today and I talked to the guy. Actually, I went there yesterday and they gave me the swatch book to take home. And this massive book of paint swatches. And I brought the book home. And sure enough, man, there was an exact color match to the Journey cabinet. And so I went back this morning with the swatch book and I talked to the guy and said, hey, yeah, this is it. And he's like, okay. I told him I want the best paint you have, okay? You know, normally I use oil paint and they use acrylic enamel paint there. And the guy assured me it's great paint, it's Consumer Reports, you know, best paint of the year, blah, blah, blah. And so I should be picking up that paint probably tomorrow. They were actually out of pigment, so I gotta wait a day here. But I'm gonna have that blue paint and then bondo that cab up, you know, sand it, and then we're ready to paint it. And that's gonna go, I think, I'm hoping kind of quick actually. And then after that, it's side art and the cassette interface board. We might do the cassette interface board before the paint though. I haven't really decided yet. You know, I kind of want to get the game working all the way. And that reminds me, I need to go order a 100-ohm pot. But anyway, all right, guys, that's it. And by the way, if you've never subscribed to my channel, now is a great time to subscribe. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between, like this very video right here. And also check out my two podcasts. One is called Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. The other podcast is called Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. I do both of those podcasts live on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, starting at 9 p.m. Arcade Outsiders is at 11 p.m. Eastern. And of course, during the week, you can listen to either of those podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher. So definitely check it out. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Later. Bye.